What's up, everybody? This is Mr. Second Passport. Today, we're going to cover a few things that realtors or anyone trying to sell you something probably wouldn't tell you about Loja, the town of Loja and Vilcabamba, nearby Vilcabamba, here in Ecuador. Okay, first let's cover Loja, right? Here are 5 things that most realtors wouldn't tell you, or someone trying to sell you something, right? The first thing about Loja that you should know is that, as you can just see here on the map of Ecuador, it's super isolated, right? It's super isolated, kind of in the far southern corner of Ecuador. It's really hard to get to because of this mountain chain that kind of separates it from the coast. There's one little airport that's connected only to Quito. Doesn't fly every day. It flies a couple times a week. And there's one airline currently that flies this route. And let me just say, simply put, they're not very reliable. So if you're trying to catch an international flight, you may go to the Loja airport and find out your flight's been canceled last minute, and you'd be pretty much shit up a creek, right? Which can happen a lot. And they would tell you maybe because of the wind or some weather thing, but usually it's just because they don't have enough people to fill the plane to make it, in my opinion, profitable enough to fly that day. So, and they won't tell you until maybe an hour before, and then if you booked back to back your international flight out of Quito, you could miss it. But not just that. Also, I mean, it's still kind of just because of the geography, it's super isolated. There's one way in to Loja from Cuenca, pretty much. And just a few weeks ago, here, 2021, I had a client here in Quito at my apartments here, where they said literally there was a landslide right in the middle of this road. It covered the whole road, cows and all came down, and the cows were grazing there. It was pretty amazing to hear. I wish I had some pictures, but I don't. So basically, there was no way out to the north leaving from Loja, right? And that can happen in Loja. So it's definitely something to keep in mind before you move to Loja. If you're going to be traveling a lot to other countries back and forth, Loja, due to its isolation, may not be for you, right? Also, when we're talking about Loja, the first thing that comes to mind, I've visited multiple times. I've done business there. I've hung out there. I've actually partied there too, as a younger single guy. And I can tell you, one thing that sticks out to me about Loja is it's cold as balls. Like it's cold. I don't know why it's so damn cold, but it is cold. Supposedly, it's significantly lower than Cuenca and Quito at 2,060 meters, compared to Cuenca almost 2,600 meters, and Quito 2,850 meters, right? But I think maybe that's at its low point, because I don't know what it is. Maybe because it's just to the constant cloud cover, but it just feels colder to me than even Quito. I don't know why, right? The third thing is that really, I mean, it's a small little town here that I hope to cover in depth shortly on this channel, but there's really, come on, there's really nothing to do. Nothing that I can think of. If you can think of something, maybe put it in the comments below, help us all out. But I've been there multiple times. I can't really think of much to do. I mean, they have a zoo. It used to have a giraffe until it died. It was a big deal there. That's the kind of town we're talking about here. Number 4 is property prices are surprisingly expensive to buy. Now, it's really cheap to rent here and to eat and to do about anything else. Taxis are like $1 or $2 to get almost anywhere in Loja. I mean, it's super cheap cost of living in Loja. Really cheap. Maybe some of the cheapest you'll find in all of Ecuador. But at the same time, the property prices to purchase are really pricey. I don't know why that is. There's a few theories on that. One of mine is, as far as what I've known, what I've seen, there seems to be a lot of dirty money floating around Loja, and I don't know. There's a lot of theories out there. I don't know why, but it's just really expensive, even when it doesn't make sense to buy. In all honesty, compared to renting, so cheap in a place like Loja. So something definitely to keep in mind, right? And what realtors probably would not tell you, right? And the fifth and final point might surprise you, but if you spend any time at all in Ecuador and learn about the economic situation here and how people are just fleeing to the north, immigration's going crazy. Um, the two provinces where the most immigrants flee from, right? Immigrants out of Ecuador are the Loja province and Azuay, right next door in Cuenca. And why is that? You can kind of tell when it's here. It'd be tough to make a living. If you're moving here as a retiree, you already have money, fine. Or you're working online, whatever. But if you need to hustle, you need to find a way to make a living. Loja area could be kind of tough. Now let's talk about the the pretty cousin of Loja, right next door, Vilcabamba, where all the gringos go, right? Very beautiful area. Really beautiful area surrounded by these green, lush mountains. And it's just a beautiful, picturesque little town to visit. I don't know if a lot of us could live there. It's super quiet, as you can imagine. And what I don't like is it's got the same problem as Loja in general. As you can see, it's about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour south of Loja. But as you can see, number one problem for me is, again, it's super isolated. There's one way in, one way out, and the road kind of sucks, to be honest with you. I mean, it's a good paved road, but it's kind of windy. One way in, one way out, which I'm not a big fan of. So if anything were to happen on this road, trying to get to Loja, and then you have to go almost another hour to this town, Catamayo, where the airport is. If anything happens on those roads, an accident or whatever, you can't pass, you'd basically miss your flight. And then you get to the airport, chances are your flight's canceled anyway, on up to Quito, and you'd miss your international flight. For me, there's a lot of gringos per capita, a little too many for my liking. It's just your average Ecuadorian mountain town. And yes, it is picturesque, but a lot of them are, right? So what's so special for me about Vilcabamba? I can't really think of anything, to be honest with you. And with those gringos over the years has definitely brought an increase in land prices and property prices in general, to the point where I don't know if it makes sense for most of us to buy there, right? The number three thing, a lot of realtors probably wouldn't tell you about Vilcabamba, but I will, because I don't care, and I'm actually not selling you anything on this channel, is I've lived in Ecuador like 7 years now straight. Before that, I was in and out of Ecuador a little bit. And what I've heard, every so often there's news about Vilcabamba. If you've lived here, right? Violence or crime against gringos, even murders, robberies. There was a hiker disappearing a couple years back, a murder of a gringo a few years before that. There's just some violence and some crime there that's a little iffy for me. That's been publicized in Vilcabamba specifically, which isn't normal in Ecuador. Crime towards specifically gringos, it's not normal. It's not something you should be worried about. But, I'm sharing with you, not to discourage you, but just you should visit on your own and make your own decision. But I wanted you to, like a friend to a friend, get the whole picture and hear the other side of it, compared to a lot of other channels which just say how freaking wonderful it is and everything. So anyway, if you like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button below. It helps the channel expand and bring you more content just like this. I'm Mr. Second Passport. Take care.